Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. And for this reading, I'm using the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck. And I'm just going to draw one card for this week, and that card is going to be kind of the theme for the week, and hopefully will give us a little bit of insight and guidance into what we can expect this week and what we need to be focusing on this week. So before I get into the reading, I'll just let you know I'm going to be doing a webinar on how to read the tarot court cards. That's going to be happening at the end of the month. And I'm going to put the link to that webinar if you want to register for it. I'm going to put the link as a pop-up in the video and also in the description of the video below. So the cost is $25 and you get a replay of the webinar and a PDF as well. So if you're interested, you can check that out. Okay. So the card for this week is Truth. Ooh, I find this to be actually quite a powerful card. So the card this week is Truth, and I want you to think a little bit about what that means for you, kind of what that word means for you, what truth really means. And when I look at this card, I see two identical women and they're looking at each other, and it's almost like one woman is looking at herself in the mirror, sort of. She's looking at another, like a reflection of herself, or it's like two identical twins. And they're each holding, it looks like they're holding a sword, and they're looking at each other. And then there's this eye up here, which I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I think it's like has to do with clear seeing and like really looking at something through the eyes of truth and not through the lens that we often look at things. So what I mean by that is there's always sort of the truth, which is kind of reality, what's really happening, and then there's your perception of what's happening, which, you know, is often colored by your own interpretation of events. So, you know, your hopes, your fears, your past experiences, you know, your hang-ups or your assumptions or your beliefs and ideas, all those things kind of taint or, you know, color your perception of things. So, and I think what this really means is no one really has like a clear, true understanding of what's really going on. We all see things through our own lens, or our own lens, and in a way, this is kind of how we create our own reality. Like you hear people say, you know, we create our own reality, but I think this is what it really means. Is like we do create our own reality through our, you know, through how we look at things and how we interpret things. So this card, I feel, is challenging you to see if you can kind of step back or step out of that lens through which you normally see things, and see if you can kind of be aware of how you interpret events and how your interpretation might simply be that, an interpretation. It might not be the truth of what is really true. So as you go through your week, and I feel like this week is going to be, it's going to be a good week, you know, and I think you're going to have a lot of opportunities to ask yourself, like, okay, what is true for me? So as you go through your week, you know, and as things happen, definitely ask yourself, like, what is true here? What is really true? What is true, and what is true for me? Because those two things are sometimes kind of different. And I'm trying to think if I can give like a specific example of this. Well, for example, if someone, if you have plans to have lunch with a friend and then your friend cancels at the last minute, you know, you're going to have an interpretation of what that might mean. So you might interpret that as meaning that your friend doesn't like you, and you might feel kind of abandoned and hurt. Or you might interpret it as that your friend is really busy and she had something else that was more important and no big deal, you'll just reschedule. You know, you're going to have, depending on what's going on for you right now in your life, you're going to have a different way of looking at this and experiencing this. So as you know, go through your week, you know, ask yourself, okay, what's really true? And in the example that I gave, what's really true is that your friend couldn't make it to lunch, so she canceled. So that's what's happened. And then what's true for you is maybe you feel abandoned, or you feel hurt, or you feel disappointed, or maybe you don't feel any of those things. Maybe you just feel ambivalent about that, or maybe you feel relieved because you didn't really want to have lunch with your friend. But the key here is to understand what feelings are coming up for you, what is being triggered within you, and really look at that, not so much the situation. So the situation that triggered the feeling, you don't necessarily have to analyze that, but analyze and really look deeply at the feeling that's being triggered for you. And I've kind of used a negative example where you might, feel hurt by something, but you can also do this for positive things, so things where you're really excited. And it's funny because we often don't have a desire to really observe and look closely at positive emotions. It's usually just when negative emotions are triggered that we're like, oh, what's going on? But you can do this with really positive emotions too, like excitement or inspiration or enthusiasm. And you can think like, okay, what triggered me to feel this way? And what's true for me is that I'm feeling really inspired right now. And then kind of observe and be like a detective and see how that feels for you, and what's going on, what does that feel like in your body. Okay, so I'm just going to take another look at this card and see if anything else jumps out for me. Another thing I'm getting from this card is that most of your battles, if not all of your battles, are really with yourself, not other people. And I'm getting that from the fact that these two women, identical women, I think they're a reflection of each other, they're holding swords and they're kind of facing each other. And it's that moment where you realize that the problem isn't other people or what other people have done. The problem is, how you've perceived something, or, the fact that you're making a big deal about something, or some other kind of inner thing. And to kind of add to that is the idea that other people are a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So how other people behave, respond to us, how they treat us, what happens is often an outer reflection of some of the stuff that we're dealing with on the inside. And so if your life is very chaotic and people are very demanding and you feel like your life is very unpeaceful, look within you and you'll probably find that your inner realm is also kind of chaotic, and maybe there's not a lot of peace happening there either, and maybe you're really demanding on yourself. So this is about kind of going within, and there's something else I wanted to say to add to that. Oh yeah, and this isn't about like blaming yourself, like, oh, it's all my fault that people are jerks to me and nothing's going as I want it to. It's not about doing that at all. It's not about blaming yourself or feeling like you're not doing things right, or feeling any kind of like self-guilt over that kind of a thing. That's not what it's about. This is about just being a detective, being curious and looking and just going within and noticing some of the correlations and it's about using what happens in your outer life, so the reflection, what's happening, what's going on in your life, using that as a tool to identify what you need to maybe change or shift, or what you need to be aware of within you in order to be more peaceful and in order to just simply feel more joyful and let go of things that are holding you back. So that has been your weekly oracle card reading. So I hope you've found that helpful. And if you have any observations of this card that you would like to add, please feel free to do so in the comment section. So my name is Kate. I'm from dailytarotgirl.com, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful week.